Hello, everyone, and welcome to my presentation on community water fluoridation. My name is Sarah Warren, as many of you know, since we've all been in the classes together for a while. Anyway, so what is community water fluoridation? Community water fluoridation is the act of adding measured amounts of fluoride supplements into the water source of communities with the goal of preventing that population's tooth decay. According to Community Water Fluoridation, an article by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, although other fluoride containing products such as toothpaste, mouth rinses, and dietary supplements are available and contribute to the prevention and control of tooth decay, community water fluoridation has been identified as the most cost effective method of delivering fluoride to all, reducing tooth decay by 25% in children and adults, which sounds like a lot for sure. So further proof of the use of fluoride, according to an article called Water Fluoridation for the Prevention of Dental Caries by the Cochrane Library, 107 studies provided sufficient data for quantitative synthesis. This article goes on to describe a cumulative 35% reduction of DMFT, which is a measurement of dental decay in populations, and a 15% increase of caries-free children. Now, healthy people, on the other hand, also agree by stating community water fluoridation is the most effective way to deliver the benefits of fluoride to a community. Studies show that it prevents tooth decay by 18 to 40%, which again is a lot, I feel. So the best part about community water fluoridation is that it's very cost effective. According to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, the estimated return on investment for community water fluoridation, including productivity losses, ranged from $4 in small communities of 5,000 or less to $27 in large communities of 200,000 people or more, which is absolutely crazy to me that we can spend so little yet gain so much. Like I said there in that last paragraph, it's an absolutely minuscule amount of money to provide to such an incredible service to those who might not otherwise be able to afford dental costs. So it's really important. There's quite a need for it as well. To successfully take care of the public's oral health, it is imperative that all states accept the water fluoridation and are granted means for equipment and engineering to provide the service. 73% of the population live in water fluoridated areas, but that still leaves 27% that do not. There are 6 states, including New Mexico, California, Wyoming, South Dakota, Montana, and Washington, that do not participate, which in turn prevents millions of people from being granted access to easy, cost-efficient health care. Which is crazy to me. I honestly didn't even realize there were states that didn't participate in that. And when I was doing this research, I was just kind of mind blown, honestly. So continuing with the need, I believe that the reason why sometimes we don't have community water fluoridation in every state is because there's speculation that fluoride is poisonous or hazardous to one's health. I personally have met people that refuse to allow their children to receive topical fluoride varnish because they deem it as a toxin to their bodies. I'm sure many of you have also experienced this. However, these children that are not allowed fluoride are also usually ridden with dental decay. So major health study corporations such as the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and Healthy People have conducted numerous studies over the years to prove the effectiveness of water fluoridation, and the results are all positive. Many studies have been conducted that date prior to 1975, which is an early time in water fluoride's history. So going into the standards for water fluoridation from the Public Health Service. The U.S. Public Health Service recommended in 2015 that 0.7 milligrams of fluoride be placed in each liter of community water. Now, before this, it was 0.7 to 1.2 milligrams, and that was put into place in 1960 something, I believe, but in 2015 they changed that standard. That's because they did some more research, as you can see in this next paragraph, and they kind of looked at a couple different things that might change how that fluoride is adapted into the water. So some of these are there are fluoride in drinking water as one of the several available fluoride sources, trends in the prevalence and severity of dental fluorosis, and current evidence on fluid intake of children across various outdoor air temperatures. And each of these details are really important when considering how much water or fluoride we should put in the water. So next, we're going to go into some of the legislation regarding water fluoridation, which this was really fascinating to me too as I was learning about it. So there are states that have really good laws regarding water fluoridation. One of these is Arkansas. They passed a law in 2011, which is called Act 197. Act 197 requires all Arkansas water systems who service 5,000 or more customers to maintain a level of fluoride to prevent tooth decay. And there are 13 states that have extremely similar laws. However, there are some other states that don't have very strict regulations, and then there are some states that have communities whose water sources are already consistent with the fluoridation levels naturally, and there are some that also go above and beyond what we should be intaking, and Colorado Springs is an example of that. I'm sure many of you have heard about Colorado Springs being related to levels of fluorosis. I personally see it all the time with people that have lived here since they were kids. So going into another area, we're looking at Pennsylvania specifically. So this is a state that they have accepted water fluoridation, but 46% of Pennsylvanians do not have access to fluoridated water, and therefore these people are more prone to dental decay. Because they have already accepted water fluoridation, I feel like it's overlooked as something that we should, many people that are activists for water fluoridation overlook it because it's already been accepted. However, we should make more efforts to try to expand in that state to that 46% that doesn't have access. So demographics affected. The demographic of those not able to receive water fluoridation is directly related to geographic location. Everyone who resides in a setting that is not depleted of fluoridated water is subjected to a higher dental caries rate regardless of age, gender, race, etc. So Kentucky is the state with the healthiest level of water fluoridation, meaning they have 99.9% of people there that have access to it. And on the other hand, Hawaii is the least healthy state with only 11.7 rate of access, which was interesting to me as well. And one thing I also looked at when I was doing this research are people that have private wells. So there are 13 million American households that use water from private wells, which was fascinating to me too, because I didn't realize that many people still had wells, but I guess they do. And so these people obviously have higher rates of tooth decay. And this is an interesting problem because there really, to my knowledge, isn't a way to regulate these water sources. So I feel like the best way to educate these people is to, convince them that they need to add their own, fluoride to the water or purchase fluoride treatments separately, that kind of thing. So steps to advancing water fluoridation. Grants definitely have to be awarded because there are things like equipment and engineering services and daily testing services and license and permits that need to be acquired before we can proceed with different programs. So an example, going back to Pennsylvania, an example is a grant that was awarded by the Pennsylvania Coalition for Oral Health. And they allowed $125,000 to different communities to purchase these different types of equipment that they need. The second thing that we have to do is do some research and figure out which areas have the most tooth decay. And we also have to consider the size of the county and the population. And of course, with everything, we have to evaluate what we've done afterwards. So of course, with all the studies showing that water fluoridation is extremely helpful, we do know that there probably would be very positive results with the water fluoridation, but I think it would be still important if we were to set programs in place to add community water fluoridation to other areas, that we look back and see what's going on, if it's helping, that kind of thing. So as far as the influence on my capstone, I love choosing this as my topic for my capstone project because I just feel like I learned a lot about it. Especially, I feel like I've used this information in my day-to-day life when I go to work and talk to my patients about fluoride, knowing how much it affects people and especially seeing the fluorosis, like I said earlier, in my patients. I see it every single day, and I think about it all the time, and I'm like, wow, Colorado Springs has so much fluoride in the water, and what can we do about it? And so I loved learning and doing all this research. So if there was an area that I would go into in dental public health, it would definitely be water fluoridation, because I would love to be a part of that and to make changes in the world like that. So, conclusion, to sum everything up, water fluoridation is important, and it's really needed to protect people's teeth from dental decay and save everybody thousands of dollars on dental treatment, which is part of, the public health. That's why we do public health, so that way we can help people out. And I feel like saving people thousands of dollars is really important. So, looking at where we've come in the past 10 years, it's absolutely incredible, and all the advancements that we've made. And in the next 10 years, I believe that 20 some percent that still does not have access to community water fluoridation, I believe that many more of those people will have access. So, and here's a list of all my references, and thank you guys for listening.